Well, are you Catholic? Well, her grandmother is. I'm speaking on your behalf right now because I know you're multitasking,
Sorry,
trying to get the cameras working.
Well, it's my whole family. I grew up Catholic, and my whole family's Catholic. My grandma's very, very Catholic. She thinks she'd text me, but my dad sends me and my brothers reminders like, "Hey guys, don't eat meat." And I did feel bad because last Wednesday, when it was Ash Wednesday, I think it was last Wednesday.
You didn't get your ashes.
No, and I had a cheeseburger because I forgot.
Well, it's not that you can't eat meat at all during Lent, right? It's just on Fridays.
It's just
on Fridays and on Ash Wednesday.
And then Good Friday is not yet. That's later.
Yeah.
I'm Catholic too, actually. I was raised Catholic. I don't necessarily practice as much. And we were talking, I didn't get confirmed, but I was baptized and I got my first communion. And my grandmother was also very Catholic.
Okay.
So it's funny. It's the things that you're not actually scared of God.
Right.
But you are scared of your grandmother.
Yeah, no, that would be more terrifying to me. I agree. They're more judgy.
Right. And it's
100%.
not even the fear of her, because I don't know about you, Victoria, but my grandma's still like the sweetest thing ever. And so, well, R.I.P. But she would always.
I just love that you said that. And I was like, when you're saying she's the sweetest thing ever, I started smiling. And then you're like, R.I.P. I was like,
yeah, well, she's been gone for a while, but we were super, super close. But the thing with her was that she always just had this tone. And if you disappointed her, it was really hard to do because she was really happy with anything that you did. Like you could write an A in the prettiest font and she would just lose her mind, you know? So to disappoint her was hard.
Yeah.
Is my point. That was a terrible example of being proud of something, but to disappoint her was hard. So then that's the kind of thing you're like, well, if grandma wants me to do it, it's like the one thing she really wants me to do is be a good Catholic. Then, you know, okay, I'll try.
I spent a lot of time in a Catholic church because my best friend's family was Catholic, and I would spend the night on Saturdays so that I could go to church on Sunday for free donuts.
That is what got me to church every morning.
Yeah, you give me an apple fritter and I will go anywhere.
For me, it was jelly donuts.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what it was about or is about the church that knows if they provide donuts,
the kids are
going to want to go. And my mom's like, you remember that? I'm like, yes.
Yeah, it's the only reason I went.
I don't eat jelly donuts anymore because I had so many growing up. Like,
really?
Oh my gosh, I'd leave Sunday school and I was like, where are the jelly donuts?
Oh my God. I mean, I will still crush an apple fritter.
You're like, what'd you learn today? That I waited 20 more minutes for a jelly donut.
I would just sit there and I'd be like, okay, you've got, what time is it? And I didn't wear a watch at the time, right? Because what kid does? And I was like, donuts. Just think about donuts. And then they do like the part of church where you go up and communion. And I, of course, couldn't do it. And I was like, man, they're getting bread right now, and I'm starving.
You weren't allowed to eat before, or you weren't supposed to.
You weren't supposed to eat
before. Yeah, it's like, how many peace be with yous before I get my donut?
I know. I'm like, and also with you, and also with you, and also with you. I'm like, I know all of these. I know more about the Catholic Church than I should.
Right.
I went to a Lutheran church too, but I spent more time in a Catholic church.
That's so funny.
That's funny. I used to do that, well, growing up Catholic, but I used to do that and spend the night at my friend's house that were Mormon. Because all the cute guys were Mormon, and so they would be in church for 4 hours on a Sunday. And I was like, well, the best way to get in there is to spend the night and go with my Mormon friends.
What?
Oh.
Yeah, it was very fascinating.
And they would let you go in?
They did.
So it wasn't obviously in the temple. It was like in a Mormon...
Right. It wasn't the temple.
Because
it was
the temple,
like
I'm like, you can be a Mormon and you still can't even get in the temple.
Right.
You're not good enough.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I don't fully know. Like I just knew that they were like the nicest people.
Yeah, my dad was raised Mormon.
Was he?
Yeah, my grandmother was very involved in the Mormon church.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Religion is the most fascinating thing. And it's one of the things you're not supposed to talk about if you want to keep it.
Yeah, but see, we haven't said anything bad or good about any of them other than donuts at church.
Oh, yeah, I don't feel
and
bad.
boys.
I don't feel bad about the
we're
conversation.
But see, my grandma, since she's like getting older, love her to death. But homie has gotten a bit more spicy, especially with her religion messages. And I'm like, Grandma.
Like what?
Like she apparently, like my cousin, I guess, went to her house. My dad just told me, but I don't think any of them listen. My cousin apparently went over to their house, her house a while back. And I guess she told her, she goes, that dress is ugly. Like, who gave you that color? Like, that's ugly.
Oh, just straight up.
I was like, Dad, that's so mean. He's like, I'm well aware. He goes, just don't listen to it. And I'm like, no, but like someone needs to tell her to stop. Like, that's not nice to say. And he's like, just leave her alone, Victoria. Like, if you want to talk to her, talk to her. If you don't want to talk to her, don't talk to her. But then she sends me messages about how, like,
You're a dirty whore, stuff like that.
Thankfully, no, she doesn't.
Darn it, I was going to be really pro-grandma right then.
She doesn't listen to the show or our podcast, thankfully, because I'm pretty sure I would get those messages. But she just about like religion and the prayers we need to be praying and how Seattle's like, oh my gosh, it's turning dark and stuff like that. And I'm like, Grandma, that's the whole world. Like, you're living in it.
Yeah, but she focuses on you and wants to make sure that you say your Hail Marys every time you do something bad.
Yes, 10 of them.
And your
Oh,
Our
is that
Fathers when you just,
How many Bloody Marys are you supposed to have?
I should text her
on
that.
Sunday it is the most
Okay.
religious act you can.
That's what I thought.
do.
Yeah, on Sundays only,
Right.
though. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I should text her that back. That's so funny.
And she's gonna be like, what?
I will say when people get older, though, you just start giving less of a fuck what other people think
Yeah.
about what you're saying. So, like, the filter softens and you're like, I'm going to say whatever I think and I'm going to walk around and fart all the time and I don't care.
Yeah.
Those are the things that happen when you get older.
I don't know if
Added
I'm ever
that.
going to be that free. Like, I just think that there's also
I think
a
there's
level
just
of
things you
class
don't care.
that I would like to maintain.
You
for
say
as-
that now.
For as long as I live my life. I'm not saying that, being a little bit more sassy or whatever, not caring as much of what other people think. Like,
Right.
sure, I'm all about that. Let's
Yeah.
keep going down that lane. Walking around farting just because I can.
I don't think
like,
it's that they
that
do
doesn't
it.
feel classy to
I don't
me.
think it's that people do it because they can. I think it's like you don't have as much control over holding
Yeah.
something in anymore. so
Well-
they just, it's not like someone's walking around like, it's like, like they just squeak out.
Somehow with Ashley, it always comes back to some bodily function.
I'm just letting you know I'm around a lot of people with a lot of bodily functions.
Oh God.
You are. You absolutely are.
So I'm just giving you guys awareness. Like you can't judge an old person for farting because sometimes it just happens.
Yeah, you're right. Well, for anybody for that matter, it just happens.
That's true. And
Right.
but usually like when you're younger, you can like, oh, I'm going to hold it in and my stomach's going to hate me for a while.
Or like, excuse me. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, just little things like that. As natural as it is, it's
But,
just still
like,
like a little excuse me.
Sometimes you get to the point where it happens and maybe you don't even know that it came out of you.
Oh.
And you're like it happens and it's just part of life now. And so
Has this happened to you?
not to me.
Okay.
No. I just know people.
Got it.
That happened to Jubal.
Wait,
Oh, right.
what? He just started farting?
Yeah,
He-
Jubal.
yeah.
So, just a real quick recap. Here at Classy Chaos, we've got Ashley, Victoria, and myself, Nina. Nina and Victoria are also on a show called The Jubal Show. And Jubal is the host of that show, and he does let things slip out every once in a while.
Really?
But it was funny because it was when we were in the old studio. It was like maybe like a year and a half ago. And he was just walking out of the studio and I heard him like toot. But I didn't say anything. And I realized I was the only one who heard it. So I was like, Victoria, just be quiet. It's whatever. And then a week or two later, he says it on air. He was like, no one heard it the other day, but guys, like I tooted. And I start laughing and I'm like, I definitely heard that. He's like, why didn't you say anything? And I'm like, because I
What are you
don't wanna-
supposed to say?
Well, what Jubal was saying was
Yeah.
sometimes it just falls out.
Yeah.
And those were his words. He's like, well, it just
Ew.
fell out and nobody noticed. So I just kept going.
And I mean, that's true. I get it.
Yeah,
I don't
you-
have that
you really-
experience a lot, but I'm just saying it happens.
Yeah, you're very empathetic with the gas department.
I get it. Yeah. Like, there's certain things you can't walk around your whole life. Like, think about this. When you start dating somebody, like, the biggest nightmare of your life is that you're going to toot in front of them. Or at least it was for me. Like, I cannot toot in front of, we'll just use Mark as an example.
Uh-huh.
And then we started hanging out like immediately every single day. And he was like basically living in my apartment. And I was like, there's no safe space anymore. A toot's gonna happen.
Right.
Like, there's no way to get around it. What am I gonna do? And we're laying in bed one night. And I was like, oh my God, I have to toot so bad. If I even get out of this bed, I will toot. And what's gonna be more embarrassing? So I Dutch ovened him.
What was his reaction?
He laughed so hard. But I was like, I was like, I didn't. It's been like 2 weeks and I haven't tooted yet.
It's just so funny because it's like the thought process. What am I
Yeah.
going to do? Do I get out? Do I not get out? Ashley does think about all angles
Yeah.
of things. And for her conclusion to be Dutch oven it.
Because I was like, if I get out, I'm basically tooting in his face. Like if I get out of this bed right now, and that's even worse. So I'll just let him slowly waft it up
Oh my God.
over him.
We actually read something this week. We were talking about
We did.
science, of course. We leave it to all of the different scientists that come up with these things. But they found that different the timelines of relationships in order for it to work the best. And one of the things that they were measuring is when you're supposed to let it go in front of them, when you toot in front of them. And it's at 5 months and 21 days.
Oh, I did it way before then. We signed a lease at 6 months. If I hadn't tooted before then, I would not have been able to sign a lease. I would have been the angriest human on earth.
Oh
yeah,
my
I
gosh,
bet.
That's so funny.
Especially because at the time I didn't know I had a dairy allergy. So,
Oh, yeah. That just changes things.
Give me, little
Listen,
grace.
I did not walk in today thinking that this episode was going to be about toots.
I was about to
I did
ask.
not either. I apologize. We just started talking about old people and how things just happen.
It started with Lent, but
Yeah.
I did have a real question that I wanted
did start with Lent, you're right.
to talk about today because I'd been thinking about it a lot over the past few days. Do you think that there should be a class on texting? And the reason why that may sound a little bit like weird at first, but it's a form of communication.
Right.
So being a communications major, I believe all of us are, correct?
No, I couldn't get into the communication school.
What'd you get into?
What did you do?
Sociology.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Same
That's
well,
I was like 4 classes short of the communications. I was like, if I just take all the classes, eventually they're going to have to let me in. They don't.
okay. Well, you have a lot of
Hey, for effort.
experience in the communications
I do
classes.
Quite a bit.
Sociology.
Yeah.
That's just so different.
Well, sociology is also very fascinating.
But I was like,
100%.
what's the least number of classes I need to graduate with a major? And they're like, sociology, you need this many. I was like, done.
I love that.
Well, either way, your knowledge will contribute to
Okay.
this question. So there are classes to teach you how to write letters correctly, right? A form of communication. There are classes to write, in papers when you're doing like actual like reports, like both sides, and how to make sure that you're expressing everything properly. And I feel like as a form of written communication, texting needs a little bit more attention.
but it's not actually. Well, looks like I need it, but
No,
it's
you
not.
need speaking.
It's not actual communication. Like,
But it is. But it is though, because more people are communicating with each other regardless of what the conversation is, big or small, through text. And I understand that it's convenient. I mean, we all do it. We all have shortened like words and stuff. But like when you get yourself in situations where like you're not necessarily getting your point across properly, or if all things are in caps, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a way to do this. And I thought about it for everybody, not
This is
just
what you were thinking about the other day.
Yes, because I bought that booklet on texting.
Oh, there's a booklet on it.
She bought it.
I don't know.
How much did it cost?
I got on Instagram.
How much did it cost?
Well, I bought 2 courses, and so it was $36.
Wait, but ask her from who?
Who is teaching you to text?
His name is Matthew something. So I got because he was. So, there's all these different relationship coaches all over social media, and some of them have very valid things to say, others don't. But I found myself interested in what he was saying because it felt different than what I was hearing from everybody else. And he got me because he was like, there are these like 5 words that will get any man to fall in love with you over text. And I just wanted to know what they were.
That's what
gosh.
got her to buy the books.
I just wanted to know what they were. And the funny part is the 2 programs I got didn't even tell me what the 5 words were.
Oh my gosh, so you still don't know.
I still don't know.
Isn't that
But I
funny?
do know that that when you're texting a man, that you need to appeal to his testosterone, to his dopamine.
You didn't know that already?
I mean, testosterone
What are
is
you going
always
to do?
a big
Like,
player.
can you come over and open this jar?
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah. That's like 101.
I know. But I wanted to
You
see.
spent $36 on that.
I just wanted to see if I was way off.
Okay.
Right? I wanted to see if I was way off or whatever. And I just wanted to see how it worked. So I
Okay.
started implementing his text messages on a subject. And it really was working.
Like, what did you say?
I was like, really cool how you actively, it's really cool how you actively dang it, what did I say? Nope, wasn't
Yeah.
there.
It was slightly cringe.
What did I say?
It was like how you actively either something about work or something about getting better. Because
something about both, like how you actively make moves to make yourself better, or like whatever, something along that. It sounds cringy, but to him, he loved it. And also, I meant it, but also people don't get that type of, because that wasn't a testosterone one. That was a dopamine
No,
one.
then you were like, and can you come over and open this jar?
Yeah.
Right. And so
That's
then you do.
in my pants.
Why?
I don't keep jars in my pants.
No, but that was like your way
Ashley.
of getting him over there.
What's her in?
Man, I have the ultimate cock block of all time, though. I live with my parents. So it's like, I
Yeah.
can't, it's like, and then can I come to your house?
Yeah, can I bring my jar over to you?
Oh, man.
Okay, so he
So, but anyway-
loved it. And then what?
It ended up leading to a conversation that, I needed to have, and then that was that. So it was good, though.
Okay.
But like, the conversation happened because he wanted it to happen. It wasn't me asking for it this time. Do you see that?
Because you said those things.
Well, I think so. I don't know. It's just an experiment. I was trying these different text strategies, and it was just interesting to see how it worked. Now, I'm not saying we should have classes that teach you how to manipulate people through text message, but I am saying I think it would be interesting if there was more thought put into how you communicate with anybody through text message. So I don't know if it needs to be a class, but there is something deeper than just writing LOL.
You can send a
know?
voice memo.
Yeah, that's why you don't write LOL anymore. It's got to be a laughing, crying emoji.
Well, I do both.
Yeah. Well, you just like to double down and make sure people know you're very
I'm laughing.
entertained. I think.
Am I
though-
overthinking this?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say the same.
I mean, I would have said you're overthinking it when you spent $36 on 2 lessons. But you do you. And
It's interesting. I just think it's really interesting.
But the thing is, you already knew this stuff. So to spend $36 to have someone else tell you something you already know.
Well, it was more validating than it was anything else.
Okay.
Because, you like to believe that you know all of these things, but when you go about your days and things aren't always lining up, you just need a little extra telling you that you are right and you are doing things correctly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
So that was all. Well, I'm great. No, what?
We all need speaking
What
classes.
is happening? Because when you said I think there should be lessons in texting, I was thinking like, for me, the lesson I need is use less exclamation points and less emoji response, like think out a response. But I'm not like a over emoji user. I used to be an over exclamation pointer, even in emails, like, because I'm just so excited that someone wants to write to me.
Aw.
And I'm like,
So funny.
and I'm like, here, let me show you how excited I am with all of these exclamation points. And now I'll have to go back and be like, that sentence doesn't need an exclamation point. It can have a period. You can put an exclamation point at the end of this one. And so like things like that would be good to be professional, maybe.
Not even professional. Do you ever receive a text message and you're like, what? Like it just rubs you wrong?
Oh, all the time. And then I write back really bitchy ones.
Right. But then when you actually have that conversation with the person, you realize that there was no reason for it to be bitchy on either side.
Yeah.
What if you mean it to be bitchy, though? Like,
Yeah.
I sometimes mean for mine, tick them off.
I usually
You
will.
just walk around bitchy all the time.
So good. It's coming off how
yeah,
I
so
say it.
she doesn't need a lesson. She's nailing it.
Yeah, I try to type how I speak.
That's what I try to do too. And actually, a lot of times I just use voice to text now, and then it screws it up, and then I laugh and I send it.
What? Why don't you just use voice memos? They're so much more fun.
No, I mean that would be good too. But then the problem is I've tried to use voice memos, like when I send a message to my daughter, and
Aw.
I will accidentally put punctuation in there all the time. So I'll be like, "Hi, kiddo!" Exclamation point. It's
Okay.
mom, comma. Hope you're doing well. Period. Because I'm used to voice to text.
That's funny.
So then she mocks me because I use punctuation in a voice memo.
Well,
so I
I
think
would-
voice memos are not for me.
I think that I would mock you just for telling me that you were my mother when I obviously know.
Mom, it's
Right.
The same
Well, there's
thing.
that
Yeah,
too.
my grandma used to do that. My mom and my grandma used to do that. My grandma used to hang up her calls and go, "Grandma," like sign it like a letter. And I'm like,
Aw,
"Oh,
that's so cute.
Yeah.
I know who you are." But I
Just in
love that.
case.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. I don't know if I actually did that, but in my head I did, and so I probably do, and I shouldn't. I'm glad we've had this lesson, and I didn't have to pay $36 for it.
All right,
Wow,
well
look
I
at that.
did.
Well,
So,
but now you're passing it on, so it's really like you only spent 18 because look at the knowledge you just gave us.
Yeah.
I'm just all about spreading knowledge. But really, I'm feeling like I'm on this kick now where it's just I want to truly understand where people are coming from in every conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is a me thing and not like an everybody thing.
I
But-
try to do that, like look at all the sides, but then at some point I get annoyed.
I try to not have like a reaction right away especially I will agree though with text because it is hard to take someone's tone
Yeah.
Yeah,
in a text, and a lot of times people can be short and it can come across really bitchy.
exactly.
So I do try, when I say I like write back bitchy, I don't actually. Like I do try to be like, okay, But I'll write back in a way of like, I don't know if you know how this came across, but it came across kind of like this. Smiley face.
It's a
Exclamation
smiley face.
point.
You
Yeah.
say something really shitty and just put
Yeah.
a smiley face after it.
Yeah.
Funny.
You do you, smiley face.
Well, and I will say that's one issue with voice to text that I haven't figured out is how to do emojis. So for a long time I would
'Cause you
do
can't.
so I would do the voice to text and I'd be like, winky face. And then it would send my whole text and at the end it would say winky face. And I was like, that's even better actually.
The voice to text always cracks me up. My agent's really big on that. So anytime we're in meetings and she's got to text somebody, she'll stop the meeting and she'll just be like, and blah, 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 period. And and it just cracks me up.
Yeah, I love it. It's the best.
Yeah, no, I don't do that.
I don't use it either.
No,
You should really
she
start.
does
It's
voice
high-
memos.
Yeah.
Voice memo girly.
But the voice memos can also become.
She does.
She really does. And I love it when it comes from you, and I love voice memos when it comes from friends. But
Yeah.
when there are new people that are entering your circle and they start thinking that they can jump straight to voice memos, it feels a little aggressive.
I'll tell you why I don't love voicemails in general.
Memos.
That one is because it sounds like a voicemail. Like, so basically you just didn't want to call me and leave me a voicemail,
Right.
which you shouldn't do anyway anymore these days.
Why?
I mean, unless it's someone you don't really know. But I'm saying, like, if I call Mark and I leave a voicemail, he'll get mad at me. Like, I saw that you
Wait,
called,
really?
I'll call back. Well, not really, but he's like, now I got to go listen to it.
I like voicemails.
I like
Oh.
voicemails too, and I make sure to leave them on people that I want to call me back because now you can't say, "Well, I didn't see that you called."
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, the only one I like is my mom because she's got a British accent. And so when
Yeah.
it tries to translate
Your
it.
mom has a British accent?
It's
Yeah.
so cute.
But so when
What?
so you know how on like iPhone when you go to the voicemail it'll translate it. It doesn't. It calls me, "Hi Charlie" instead of "darling," and it'll be like, "Love you, Dr. Ray," like all sorts of weird things. It
That's
cannot
so
figure out what she's
cute.
saying, and so that's my favorite and the only person I really like getting voicemails from. But that's what I think voice memo is kind of like. Except that people ramble more in a voice memo. You're not as concise. That's the only reason
Yeah.
I like getting them from you is because that's what I want, is that rambling, like the other day. I think I'm still drunk. What is happening? Oh my God, it's 2:30. Like the random thoughts you have in the middle of your voice memo
Memos?
are great.
Thank you.
Do you think that you love those because you don't get it every day?
Yes,
Because like if you had that around you every day, would it just not have the same?
I would just not
cuteness?
listen to them.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Is that happening to you?
That's kind of how I feel sometimes. And I mean specifically with Victoria.
Right.
Like,
No, I figured that out,
right,
yeah.
right, right,
Wait,
right.
what?
I do love her voice like memos, but I feel like I don't get distracted by her like, kind of. She has like a waterfall of thoughts at once.
Yes.
And she
do?
expresses that in her voice memo. So you'll have like 8 different words that mean nothing, that have nothing to do with each other
What? What do you
at
mean?
the same time. It's true. But so I don't hear that. I have to listen to the conversation that's happening in the middle of all of those things.
Yeah, I will say the one that you left on Sunday about your face looking like you got punched in the eye.
Forgot about that. That was rough.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what she didn't tell us? That she was doing the walk of shame that morning too.
It wasn't
And
a walk
that
of
she
shame.
didn't
It was-
have shoes on in the streets and that
I
her
didn't say
skirt
that.
was unzipped.
I mean, it's Seattle. She probably looked like she fit right in.
I know, but she didn't tell us that. That was the juicy
Yeah.
part. I don't
What-
care about your face.
think-
I want to hear about your
Yeah.
walk of shame.
Send a picture of your face and tell us a story that we want to hear.
You had your face in a pillow. Why?
No. God.
Actually, your skin looks really good right now.
Yeah, it really does.
Well,
It's glowing.
I've been
T-Bazzy.
literally because I was so scared when I saw it.
T-Bazzy.
But I almost did send you all a voice memo when Sydney.
That's my skincare line, mytbazzy.com. Okay.
You can find her on Instagram as well.
She's like, okay, now you can continue.
mytbazzy.
.com.
Period.
But when Sydney, my roommate, picked me up, she was like, "Oh, we're getting to bagels," and I was like, "Sydney, I can't eat a bagel right now. Like, I just want to go home." And she goes, "Okay." She goes, "So do you want to stay in the car?" And I said, "Yes." She gets out of the car and takes her keys, and I felt like a dog. And I was like, "Wait a minute, aren't you even like for dogs supposed to leave like the AC on?" But then she ran back.
I mean, it's not summer.
It's not so I
Yeah.
was fine. But then I
Thank
literally
God.
what? I'm so confused.
I was fine. Well, were you though?
I just
Really?
picture her like sitting in the car. Well, Sydney
She's
left me here with the windows up, and I can't do anything about it, and I just have to sit here and I can't breathe.
Well,
Yeah.
no, okay.
Licking the window.
I was laying down in the back seat. My skirt's not fully zipped. My shoes are not on. And I just hear these people like pass the car being like, "Is that girl okay?"
Oh.
And so I'd wake up and be like, "Yep, hi, fine." But I almost sent y'all a voice memo then because, like, guys, I'm not doing well. But then I think she forgot I was in the car because I took forever.
Well, but did you end up getting Taco Bell that day? Because that was like you wanted to go get Taco Bell, but it was a 10-minute walk.
Oh, she hates Taco Bell.
Then what was it?
Oh, it was a taco place.
Place.
I couldn't walk. That was not on
So what'd you eat?
the day's journey. I dashed
Oh, okay.
tacos. But then I also made mac and cheese because that sounded really good.
No, there's nothing like being hungover and thinking everything in the world sounds great and eating a little bit of all of it and then wanting to die more.
Yeah.
And then going back to a nap.
Yeah.
You know what the best, though, is? Since you do live in the Seattle area and it is excellent here, pho. Honestly,
I'm not a
when
fan
you are
of it.
hungover, there's nothing that cures the soul more than pho.
I don't want
me,
anything
personally.
that hot.
But there's
Yeah.
something in the broth
No.
that just heals you.
Really?
Yeah.
I need like greasy food or like just
Salads.
something.
I love salads.
Oh my
when
God,
I'm
a
Salads?
cold salad.
My roommates
Cobb
like
salad,
that.
specifically a Cobb salad.
That's basically like it
What?
has to have iceberg lettuce.
Eggs.
Oh, yeah.
Even when like you're
Bacon.
hungover.
Yeah. And French fries. I always love a salad
Yeah,
and French
salad
fries.
and fries. That's my go-to meal.
Me too.
I love it. Not even just hungover, like in life.
Me too.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love that too. That and like I love a Bud Light and a Buddy. But you know.
Yeah, you do love that. I don't.
I can't.
But I love that for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And the buddy is great.
Yeah, always the Buddy. So yeah.
A shot.
Yeah.
I was trying to think what the buddy was.
Yeah.
Just a shot. Yeah. My bad.
But back to So anyway, cool. What else? What did we miss with you, Ash?
I mean,
What have you been up to?
not a lot. I just hanging out. I got a new inhaler, so that's been really exciting.
I
happened
didn't know
to your
that you
old
had
one?
asthma.
I do,
know that.
and I've been on a journey to find an inhaler that doesn't cost $230 a month.
Holy crap.
Have you always had asthma?
Yeah, my whole life basically, but I've like kind of it's come and gone of like it's more like exercise induced or allergy induced, things like that. And then I discovered I was allergic to milk a year ago.
Right.
And so that has helped my asthma tremendously because I don't eat milk. So
Drink.
they gave me this new inhaler finally. And I was like, okay. They're like, use this every day so you're not using your like emergency inhaler. I was like, okay. So after like a week, I started getting kind of a sore throat. And you have to like rinse your mouth out when you use it. So I thought maybe I'm not rinsing my mouth out enough and it's doing something. So I just was like diligent, like water and mouthwash, and this is going to be great. You're going to love this story.
I'm so
It's
scared.
really not that exciting. But so then another week went by, and then I had the worst head congestion, like sinus congestion, pressure. Like if I moved my head, I was like, my brain's going to fall out of the front of my head. So I stopped using it, and then the sinus infection slowly kind of got better. Then I used it, and then the head pressure came back. So I was like, I'm going to assume there's something going on with this inhaler that I shouldn't be using. So I went to look at it. And if you have a milk protein allergy, you shouldn't use the inhaler. So I was just giving myself milk basically every day
Oh.
for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Wow.
Sounds brutal.
So remember the last
Good
time we recorded and I was like, I'm dying?
Yeah.
That was
That was why?
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
So that's fun. So now I'm looking for a new one, but my doctor's on it.
Okay, good.
Why
Yeah.
are they so expensive?
Good question.
Oh.
Insurance doesn't like to cover them.
Seriously?
Yeah.
But it's a medical condition.
Well, insurance sucks.
There's always some kind of
Oh.
Yeah.
little twist there.
That's
But
some
you can
bull.
use Good RX. You just got to be you got to like search for, it's got to be very specific.
Good RX is legit. I use it all the time when I have UTIs.
You get a lot of those? Wait, we've had this conversation
That's
before.
what I was gonna say. You get a lot of those.
This is the second time you've brought up UTIs.
I haven't had a UTI in a while, but when I have them
That's a while.
and they're so painful, like
Yeah, 'cause
it's
you're-
just a good go-to.
Because you said your mom found your UTI
I
medication.
forgot about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I am worried now because I did give you a hard time last time and you said it doesn't happen that often. But now you just said I use them all the time when I get my UTIs. So I feel like
I'm not
this is
really-
happening more
I'm
often
not
than you're letting us
Really
believe.
UTI prone unless I'm super active. And when I'm super active, I have a tendency to get UTIs from time to time.
Okay.
You know, it just happens.
You're supposed to pee after.
I do.
Oh.
Not well enough.
I just can't
Squeeze
help
it
it.
out.
I have an insatiable appetite that leads to too much. You know?
Oh dear God.
And on that note,
Mom, plug your ears.
vomit.
That's when she walks in and goes, I know what this is for. Man, let me tell you, invasive roommates always up in your biz.
I can't.
Which is hilarious because so I went to Whistler last weekend to celebrate my dad's birthday, and my sister-in-law was there, and we were walking around in the grocery store, and I was getting a little container of mouthwash, and right next to it was condoms. And she's like, Nina. I was like, what? She's like, what are you getting these? I was like,
Wait.
even if I wanted to, Cal, I've got no reason to use those because I'm here with my mother, my father, my niece, my nephew, my brother, and his wife.
Yeah.
So where am I going to go? Unless I snuck out. Like there was
I don't
definitely.
think you'd really have to sneak out. You could just walk
Walk
out.
I mean,
out, yeah.
I could just walk out, and I don't know what it is about Canada or if it's specifically Whistler or what, but everybody is beautiful.
They are.
Everybody is beautiful. I had to rent equipment because I ski, and
Wait, you don't have your. I feel like you're a person. You'd have your own.
I used to have my own, but I just moved home and I haven't gone as much. But so one of the guys that was like fitting everybody was Australian. He wasn't fitting me. So as the guy that was fitting me, I was just not paying attention because I'm like, oh my gosh. And then like on the slopes, you look everywhere. Everybody's beautiful. And I was standing outside with my little nephew at one point, and he was on one side, and this dude was walking by, and I just was staring because I like to admire nature's gifts.
The way of putting it.
And at that moment, here comes my nephew, butt cheeks.
Oh God.
Because those are his favorite words because he's 5.
That's cute.
And then he comes and hugs up on me, which I love. Like I can't get enough of those little nuggets. But if you want to talk about the ultimate C blocks, like being an aunt that weekend was not helpful. It's not like you could just like walk a puppy in a dog park and like what do you call it? Reel them in.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, what are you trying to do to
Well,
them?
yeah, and it would be the opposite if it was like if he was walking around and his nephew was running up to him yelling butt cheeks, poop, you would have laughed really hard and been like, oh my
Totally.
God, that's so cute. Sorry, single.
Right.
And it
meanwhile,
didn't-
he's like, her husband's probably somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm
He's like,
I'm like,
well,
nope.
I'm not her.
Just with my dad and my brother.
Should have told him that. He's not mine.
Has
Say,
a sign.
Auntie, listen to what I have to say. Make sure you say auntie in front of every word.
Train them to say that whenever they run up to you.
Yeah,
It's a good idea.
I know. So that was the ultimate.
And
C-block.
look, you brought up the poop.
Wow, it wasn't even Ashley at that
I
point.
didn't bring it up. Technically, my nephew did.
Well, he's not here telling the story now,
Yeah.
is
Well, it's what happens. I don't know where to go with this
I don't
anymore.
either.
I know.
But you know what? It's okay because we've had a great little catch up sesh. And whatever you're doing, thank you for being here. And make sure that you stay chaotic.
But keep it classy.
he? You nailed it.
Thank you.
That was really good.
Yeah. Proud of
Even
you
our
guys.
first one.